Hello, 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 friends, and welcome to IHKC Live. For those of you who don't know, my name is Lauren Conaway, and I am founder and CEO of InnovateHER KC. We are a leadership community that is committed to supporting women plus leaders. And we do that through a lot of really cool things. We do that through what we call social connection, professional development, mentorship, championship, and resource sharing. We do all of those things with a lens to low barrier to entry and inclusion for our members. We are also industry agnostic, so we have a lot of folks within our membership coming from all different kinds of areas. We've got entrepreneurs and nonprofit leaders and creatives, and we also have some educators within our group. And we're going to be talking this week with some leaders from within our community about back to school. We know that a lot of women plus leaders tend to be parents. And often they are primary parents. So they very well might be stressed this time of year. They also might be super relieved and really, really excited to be sending the kids back off to school. I don't know what your journey is, but each one is valid, and we're here to talk about it. So we have with us today Keela Carter of Hickman Mill School District and Alexis Martin of Reconciliation Services. And then, as always, we have with us Cynthia Fales, our amazing executive producer of IHKC Live. And I am going to, hi, Cynthia, how are you?
I'm doing okay. Trying to figure out what's happening with Facebook here.
I
But
know. I
okay.
saw that. It said that we might need to remove it and then add it back into the stream. So you are about to watch some entrepreneurs tackle problems in real time, friends.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
absolutely.
This will be a fun experience for you. Uh, but while we are trying to figure that out, do you want me to try to remove it, Cynthia?
I'll work on it.
Okay. Cynthia's going to work on it. In the meantime, I'm going to ask Keela Carter and Alexis Martin to come on up. And hello, friends. How are you?
Hi.
Good. How are you?
Good. And I'll tell you what, before we do quirky questions, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give Cynthia a little bit of time to work on some things. So the first thing I'm just going to ask you to do, I'm going to call an audible. Just tell us a little bit about who you are, what you do, and what you hope to bring to our conversation today, if you don't mind. And Cynthia will just be like a mad woman, I'm sure.
Yeah. So my name is Alexis Martin. I am the social services manager at Reconciliation Services. What I hope to bring to this conversation is just tools and things and guidance on parents getting ready to go back to school. I know some children have already entered school this week and then next week and all throughout the month of August. So really just providing you some tools and some just framework on how to make your everyday life less stressful and just, yeah.
Awesome. And we're so glad to have you, Alexis. Keela, how about you?
So my name is Keela Carter. I am the family school liaison in the Hickman Mill School District. The school that I service specifically is the 6th and 7th grade center. And so in my role, I also act as the McKinney-Vento liaison. So McKinney-Vento students in our district are homeless students. And so that list grows throughout the school year. What I hope to bring to the table is resources for parents to let them know that your district supports you, supports your students, and there are resources out there within your district and in your community for school supplies, food pantries, different things like that, and just encouraging parents to ask those questions to your district because the resources are there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I love that so much. And I'm really, really excited to get the conversation underway. But first things first, we have prepared you. And for those of you who are watching who have never heard of this, we do something fun called quirky questions before we kick off the conversation. Cynthia knows that I was about to call her on up here. She was like, I bet she's about to call on me.
Yeah.
Cynthia, cool. But Cynthia, if you want to go ahead and take it away with some quirky questions for us, I am kind of looking forward to it.
Are you nervous, Lauren?
A little nervous.
Why?
Bring it on. Bring it on. We got this. Okay.
No more teeth questions. I promise. No more teeth questions. We'll start with something easy.
No,
Which
thank you for that.
which show could you binge watch more than once? Or maybe have you?
Okay.
Just curious.
I'll go first. I am a huge 911 fan. On Fox,
Ooh.
I love, like, I don't know, the drama, the fake firefighters, and I really believe that this is how they act in real life. So I'm always drawn to it. Yeah, 911. I love it. It's the best show.
I love it.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's awesome.
that is awesome. Keela, how about you?
This might sound terrible, but The Sopranos.
Ooh.
I have watched neither of those shows. I can't relate.
Oh my goodness.
I know. Well, so talk to us about why The Sopranos.
Why The Sopranos? Amazing acting
Yeah.
is what it kind of really boils down to. A storyline that continues throughout each season. It's truly entertaining.
Yeah.
Nice.
Well, I love that. So my answer is, y'all may not know this. Cynthia certainly does, but I'm a pretty high anxiety individual, like in general. Like, generally, I don't know if I always show it. I know that I sometimes do. Cynthia's like, yes, that's true, absolutely. But so one of the ways that my anxiety manifests itself is I actually watch a lot of shows over and over again. I have actually read that people who experience high anxiety, they tend to do that because even the slight stress of not knowing what's coming next in like a show or a book or something like that can be really anxiety inducing for someone who's like already predisposed to living there. So I have a ton of shows that I watch over and over and over again. And the show that I have been returning to most recently, there are two. I'll give you two. New Girl is one that I will watch very frequently, and Wednesday, the Wednesday Addams series.
Yeah,
that's great.
It's so great, and I will watch both of those more than I would care to confess to. So I'm not going to tell you how often I watch them, but it's a good amount.
I love it. Okay. Next question. Are we ready?
Let's do it.
All right. This one is a would you rather question.
Shoot. Okay.
Would you rather have telekinesis, the ability to move things with your mind, or telepathy, the ability to read minds?
Oh, I'm answering that because actually my stock response when people ask what superpower I would want telepathy. And again, I think it speaks to that anxiety thing. Like, I would much rather know what people are thinking than have to live in my mind and think about what people are thinking.
Yeah.
But and my husband sometimes gets a little concerned. He's like, so do you want to take over the world? Do you want to be a dictator? And I'm like, maybe, but I think I would be a benevolent one. Like, I think it would be okay. But yeah, like I would, hands down, I would love to read minds.
All right. Telepathy for Lauren. Keela, how about you?
I would say move things.
Yeah.
I feel like reading minds would drive me absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Couldn't agree more.
It depends, I guess, is it like when I'm in Walmart and
I just don't feel like pushing the shopping cart anymore.
Right.
At all.
Can somebody reach that thing off the top shelf?
Yes.
I got it. See, my brain went a different way because you said you were talking about The Sopranos, and I was like,
Oh.
Wait a minute.
Wait. So maybe Keela wouldn't be quite so benevolent because clearly she's drawn to power. No, I think you would be.
No, I think she would be. Alexis, how about you?
Telekinesis. Like,
yeah.
I just don't feel like getting the remote. Okay. So I am the parent, and I know that we're talking about back to school, so maybe this can be a part of your routine. I always tell my daughter, I have a 9-year-old, can you please go get the remote for me? Because one, I lost it already. Like, I lost it from the day before. And so we'll talk about like how to prepare for your next day. But I would love the ability to really just bring the remote to me and my car keys and my debit card and all the things that I lose throughout the day. Like, I just
wait a minute though. So you just said that you had a 9-year-old, and I feel like that there is a gap that can be filled there. 9-year-old, your form of telekinesis, like, can you just be like, hey, daughter, Would you grab the remote? Thanks.
All of that in one. Yes.
There it is.
The more you know about me, the more you know. She just knows it. Right?
Okay. I love it.
That's
I love it.
Okay. Last question. Your choice. And we're going to vote on this. I want you to put up number 1 if you want another would you rather question. I want you to put up number 2 if you just want a regular question. And remember what kind of questions I ask as regular questions. As you're voting. Okay, I get see one number 1, one number 2. Number 2. Okay.
I was all by my lonesome on the telepathy thing. I'm glad that
I'll let you have that. Yeah.
What would you change about social media?
Oh, gosh.
That's a really great question.
Y'all.
That was a great question, and I have so many thoughts, but I would love to hear from y'all first.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know that you can change what needs to be changed, though, because I think what needs to be changed is like a societal thing for me. Like I would make somehow, I think that somehow there needs to be more accountability in posting and sharing your thoughts, because I think that when we're left with the anonymity of social media, we become toxic. We surround ourselves with echo chambers, and we lose the ability to discern nuance. We lose the ability to evaluate information impassively. We just get like immediately triggered. And so I think that social media is but a symptom of a much larger problem. But if there were a way to change it through social media, I'd be like, yeah, let's do that. Like you've got to pass the happy test in order to make a post. Or you have to be able to name another amendment if you are vouching for one, or something like that. Yeah. So
I would say maybe not so much access, like put screen time on Facebook. Put it on Twitter, like it needs to be a go to bed option to where no more posting. So.
That's a really, really great answer.
I like that.
Yeah, Keela, I feel like I couldn't agree more. I feel like there should be some shutdown time, right? And so for every 8 hours or 6 hours on social media, like you have to have an 8-hour break or a 9-hour break. And I wish that social media would get locked down or just shut down throughout the night, because people stay up hours and hours and hours, right, on social media, and they get this false sense of hope and false sense of identity, and they wake up and they're not really living in their true self. So it's just like, and all of that stem from the night before, right? And so it's just like the shutdown hours or like the quiet hours, and no posting, no refreshing or anything, or maybe just like, even if you try to refresh, you saw the same thing, so you'll just get off anyway. Like
kind of like when the TV used to play the national anthem and then just go to snow.
Yeah, you just
we're done.
We're done.
Yeah,
we're done for that. Like you have to pick up
some great answers.
I like that too. Well, and here's what I like about that actually. Like most about it. So Alexis and Keela, they answered like people who really care about mental health and like how to deal with the world and coping mechanisms. And I'm like, that checks out. Okay. Hey, we can see your hurt coming through.
So she would be benevolent after all, right? That's we just answered that question.
We've decided. I can be queen dictator of the world in a kind and loving sort of way.
Oh my goodness, this is so much fun.
All right. Well, friends, we're gonna kick Cynthia out. I do believe that Cynthia is going to be leaving us. So please forgive me as I take over the controls, which we have learned I am not as good as Cynthia, and that's not surprising. But at any rate, we're going to kick you out. I got it from here.
I'll be in the background for 10 minutes, just hanging out.
Well, and you have fun at Keystone Sessions. By the way, friends, Keystone is one of our partners, Keystone Innovation District. We do content with them, but every Wednesday night they have Keystone Sessions. They're doing that right now with some really awesome talent. And we are doing this. And Cynthia, in true woman fashion, is trying to have it all. She's doing this, and then she's going to Keystone. All right.
gotta balance. You gotta balance.
Thank you so much, Cynthia. Mwah.
Absolutely.
That was
Enjoy this
amazing.
Nice
conversation.
meeting you.
I can't wait to hear all of the insight that you all are about to provide.
This is going to be fun. All right. So, my friends, you've already given us a little bit of intro.
Mhm.
And here's one of the things that struck me is there is a through line of the work that both of you do in that you deal with vulnerable people. And that's a really, really difficult job to do because you have to make sure that you are taking care of yourself while at the same time taking care of others and trying to pour into others. And so the first thing that I want to talk to you about what are some of the challenges that you experience in your work and how can you be better supported within the educational ecosystem, within the larger Kansas City ecosystem as caregivers and caretakers? What do you need to thrive?
For me, I would say number one is a great support system, right? One of the most challenging things that I run into from every angle is that people don't have a great support system, a thriving support system, someone that they can call on that can actually provide results for them or life-changing resources in order for them to be self-sufficient in the community and in their household. And so really a great support system. And I know for me, that's just a connection, right? Connecting with other people, even if you're uncomfortable, making yourself known and just putting yourself out there because you never know who has the connecting piece to then elevate your world. And so being able to just ask for help, ask those questions, and also building your support system doesn't always look like your family, right? It can be the school liaison, it can be a counselor, it can be a case manager, it can be your pastor or whomever you choose, but it's just like showing up and just building your connection in your community. So
For sure.
Yes. So just to piggyback off of what Alexis said, yes, building your support system. So educators being in the school district. So when I'm speaking to teachers, you have your counselor, you have your school liaison, you have your social worker, you have your attendance clerk, your custodians, people who you might not think will provide you with more insight, but will, especially like I said, the custodians, right? These are people who know your building in and out and know your students in and out. They attend lunch shifts with your students and different things like that and are able to observe. So yes, but then on a personal basis, that support system. So Alexis and I are friends. And so
I know, actually, I met both of you at the same time at was it Lift KC? It was
yes, it was Lift KC
happy hour. And I remember being so excited because I was like, yes, people who talk about school and mental health. And like, I was so excited. And I think I was probably a little in your face about it. But
that's okay. That's okay.
You're here.
So Alexis and I are friends. And so again, having that support system, like having that friend, and also partner in the community, because sometimes on a personal basis, she'll hold me accountable. And then professionally, if I need assistance with a family, I can call her, and vice versa. She needs assistance with a family in her organization, she can call me and we'll work together. If we can't figure it out together, we're going to call on other community partners and get the problem solved. So, yeah.
I imagine that there are very few challenges that the two of you not conquer together. But I see your point. Like, it's always good to like y'all got this stuff on lock, but it's always good to have the option to reach beyond. Okay. So one of the things that I mean, Keely, you actually set me up beautifully, and thank you for that. But I think one of the things that parents tend to miss, and it's very easy to miss, this is not a judgment, but I think a lot of parents miss seeing that support system. Like you mentioned, custodians. I got to tell you, I didn't think of a custodian as a support asset within the community. It's just not something that came to my mind. And that's my bias showing. Thank you.
Mhm.
But there are all kinds of tools and resources and people that are invested in our students and our student success. And so talk to us a little bit more about that. What are some of the supports and resources and people that you can tap in your child's life, in your student's life, to help them maximize their opportunity and help you as a parent, to help you function better?
Alexis, you can.
That one goes to both of you. So I can vamp for as long as you need me.
So I would say, as far as parents, just speaking to parents, I know that there is stigma associated with asking your child's school or the district for assistances, but please, and I really beg you, don't be afraid to ask for additional assistance if you need that for your student to show up to school every day as their best self, not just the first day of school, not just the first week of school, but throughout the entire school year. The district and your building that your student attends, they have people, almost like an army, put into place, but to provide those resources. At my school specifically, we have, for example, a school food pantry that I facilitate, and just for those students to bridge that gap to make sure like that they feel safe at school and also feel safe at home. There's referral processes in place, and just many things to take on those challenges and try to remove those barriers the best that we can.
Well, and how do you really quickly, and Alexis, I know that you're going to respond to this as well, but really quickly, like, how can you access, like, who do we call? Like, so full disclosure, I am not a parent. That's not my journey. I have all the love in the world for parents, but I have never taken a kid to school and been like, oh, have fun, educators. Good
Yeah.
luck. I've never done that. And so I'm curious, like, for maybe the parents who might not know, or for people like me, who is your point of contact? Do you want to call like your school counselor, the principal? Who am I talking to?
So, if there's parents watching that are in the Hickman Mills School District, each school in the district has a family school liaison. That would be your point of contact. In other districts, they may have a social worker in place and or the school counselor.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Sounds good. And Alexis, how about you? What do you have to add to all that? That was a lot of really great information. What
That
else
was
you
so good. Thank you, Keela, for
got?
all of that. I want to take a step back because before you get into the school, before the child shows up, we know that there's an enrollment process, right? And so for reconciliation services, we provide documentation for absolutely free of charge for in-state and out-of-state birth certificates. So we really recognize the students that have moved in from out of state and they need their birth certificates. And maybe this is a time of transition and struggle for a parent to be able to come up with the financial obligation to pay for that out-of-state birth certificate that you need to enroll a child, or how do you get your shot records, right? And so our case managers work really diligently in assisting these parents getting their birth records, going down to the health department, getting shot records, and just how do we enroll them to be the most successful student, even at the beginning, and just trying to help the parent navigate certain school districts because reconciliation services is located in the KC metro area. But we have people that come from all over, right? Just not just Jackson County, Johnson County, Clay County, and all these different counties. And so case managers are really set up. If you would like to enroll into case management services, it's really as simple as calling reconciliation services.
Okay.
816-931-4751. Just in case you guys are
Did you get
wondering.
that, Cynthia? I'm looking for a thumbs up. She's down there like,
You like typing. And
uh,
yes, and so we have walk-in services at this moment, and we really took away making the appointments because we realized how important it was that parents and just individuals come in and get the documents that they need to start a life, right? You cannot get an apartment without an ID. So what are we going to do? We're going to provide that voucher and that supportive wraparound services for you to get these documents, so you and your child can be set up for housing or set up for a job or set up to do enrollment in school. And so some of these resources look like starting at the very beginning.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, and I love that both of you have spoken. I think that when we think about our educational system, we think about school itself. You know, we all have that picture of what school looks like, feels like, was like through our experience. Most of us have experienced institutionalized school at some point in our lives. And what I think is really interesting is that both of you have gotten at the fact that when schools look at children, they certainly see students, but they try, or at least I know of many institutions that you're trying to see the whole student, and you understand that the safety and security that you need in order to succeed in school doesn't just happen at school. You know, what about the kid who is hungry? And you know, we think about like what we want to promise: 3 hots and a cot, 3 hot meals and a place to put your head. For the students who don't have that, the gap that we are creating or that they're experiencing, it's only going to widen. You cannot thrive and excel in school if you are worried about where you're going to sleep, worried about your parent, maybe your parents' mental health or their ability to do what they need to do. Maybe you're worried about financials. Maybe you're worried about where your next meal is coming from. And if you're worried about all of those things, what you're not worried about is your studies. Right. And so I love that both of you are taking that comprehensive lens and trying to figure out, how do we serve the whole person who happens to be a student rather than how do we serve the student? And that's a really, really cool thing to do. But one of the things that we need to talk more about is that parent as stakeholder. We know that kids who have involved parents are more successful throughout their lives. The data has proven it time and time again. And it's an unfortunate reality that particularly in situations where things like food and housing are insecure, you're going to have disengaged parents for many reasons. Sometimes it's stress, sometimes it's mental illness, sometimes it could be any number of things, but you're going to have stressed out parents. So I'm going to ask you, put on your parental service lens, and talk to us a little bit about that. How can we support parents within our ecosystem and make sure that they have the support, tools, resources that they need in order to thrive? And Alexis, I know that you kind of touched on that with like the documentation that helps streamline a process for them, which must take so much of a load off their mind, you know. But what are some other ways that we can support parents so that they can better support their children?
Just jump
right on in.
The really cool thing, and I will speak to the Hickman Mill School District. So
let's make sure that we're broadening the conversation, because we have parents from a lot of school districts watching.
So I would say on a broad spectrum, parents, again, trying to break down the stigma of them not asking questions, them not asking for what it is that they need, and speaking to the correct people. So again, you have your social worker, your family school liaison, and these are people that not only assist the student, but they assist the family. So, and you know, including the parents. So if that need is a social service, for example, Section 8, TANF, you have food stamps, Medicaid. These are all things that if you make an appointment with your social worker and or family school liaison, that they can assist you with. We have referral processes in place to get the assistance that they need. Maybe it may be mental health services, connections with and partnerships with Swope Health Services, Rediscover, Reconciliation Services, and as well. So Reconciliation Services, they have the foster grandparent program in our district at our elementary level. And so
Father Justin was actually telling me about that like a few months ago, and I was like, what a cool program. Like so really quickly, actually I'm going to ask Alexis, what is that? Just really quick synopsis.
I had the great opportunity to work with some of our foster grandparents for summer school. And these individuals, so amazing and a blessing to
Mhm.
give their time. They are in the classrooms, right? They're not just popping in, popping out. They are in the classrooms with the students, providing them not only with that educational piece, but that nurturing piece, like
Yeah.
that grandmother, grandfather feel that some students may not receive when they leave school.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's like that, hey, come here, let me tie your shoe,
Yeah.
Let me teach you how to tie a tie, like your
Yes,
Yes.
face off, or like your first,
yes,
yeah, like
it's
here,
so
let me bring you
amazing.
some cookies that I made. Don't they smell
Yes,
Oh
great?
my
Like,
gosh. Yeah.
so many of us have had positive grandparent relationships, and I think about how powerful that might be if
Mhm.
I were somebody who had not experienced that,
yes,
like to be able to claim it as my own, like,
yes.
now I understand what all the songs are about.
Yeah.
No, I love that. Alexis, what else, my friend?
Yes, so Keela, thank you so much for running down the foster grandparents,
That was
because that's
awesome.
exactly what it is, right? They show up and they give support to the teacher, but they also provide support to the children. And I feel like we are going into middle schools as well as elementary schools, and so yes, super excited about that. But I do want to make sure that the parents just really understand that we see you, right?
Mhm.
And so much emphasis is given to children and what can we do to make, like, children are our future, children are the world. And also, guess what, someone has to raise this individual, right? And it's
Yeah.
not just all at school. So just know that there are therapy services in your community, that is willing and ready to help you succeed in navigating any of the strong emotions that you may be feeling. Lauren, I heard you talk about anxiety and just, what are
Yeah.
some things that you feel day to day that you may not feel that is normal? Or maybe it is normal, but nobody's there to validate that. So you are kind of stuck in this cycle and your children feel that. And so understanding that Reconciliation Services has a phenomenal therapy team as well as a case management team that you can come in for absolutely free. Right, this is free of charge, and you are able to tap into those services so that you can get the mental health help that you need, but
Mhm.
also navigating the school system as connecting with the liaison. Because yes, if you maybe your child is going to pre-K and you don't even know about a liaison, but a case manager can kind of help you reel you in and just tell you about the resources in your area, right? Because maybe you don't want your child to know that there's food insecurity happening at your household. And so
Yeah.
they may not go to the school pantry, but yet a case manager can connect with the pantry in the community and make sure that you have access to that. And also, just really want to share positive affirmations, waking up every day knowing that um, you are trying. The fact that you woke up in the morning and you tried it and you got your child dressed for school is kudos and hats off to you.
Mhm.
Right.
Actually, you know what, my friends? Let's take a moment to applaud those parents who, like, we talk
Absolutely.
about that a lot around IHKC. We like to celebrate wins. We like to share our wins within the virtual community. But the fact is, like, sometimes I took a shower today.
Right.
It's a
Mhm.
win. And
It's a
like,
win.
you don't have to win awards and you don't have to publicly broadcast it. But the fact is, like, there are some days for all of us
Right.
where
Mhm.
that small thing, that's the
Mhm.
thing that gets you through the day. And that is the thing that, like, you were successful at. And that's okay. We all experience it, some of us more than others. I have anxiety, I have depression. And when I'm at the height of a depressive period, like, sometimes I don't want to get out of bed. And it's
Yeah.
like, you send that email today, even if it's the only thing that I did.
Yeah.
I'm just like, all right, I sent the email today. I
I
did it.
got it. I'm good.
I
Yes.
fired,
Good
I did the
birthday.
thing that I needed to do, and that is what I can do right now. And so,
Yeah.
first of all, I am not a therapist. I have never claimed to be, nor have I played one on TV. But I just want you to know that if you are watching at home and if you're going through a hard time, that's okay.
Yeah.
Let us know. We're happy to help. Reach out to your support system. If you don't have one, we will be it. What's
Yeah.
up? InnovateHER KC. You have, as Alexis and Keela are telling us, you have a community of resources that are available to you. And we're here to help you navigate it. People like Keela and people like Alexis are here to help you navigate it. And
Absolutely.
if you can find your way to reaching out, just know that we're here.
Mhm.
So that was my little soapbox, and now I'm off of it. But I really mean it. But now I do. You said something really. I love affirmations, and I think that is so interesting to me because I really believe in like fake it till you make it, and how we talk to each other and how we talk to ourselves influences how we feel about each other and feel about ourselves, and I firmly believe that. So, what are some other things that our carers, our parents, our caregivers, our bonus parents, we know that families don't look like the traditional families that they used to look like, but like if you are a caregiver that needs to rely on the educational system for a student, what are some ways that we can empower each other and create like a really strong community? It takes the village. We talked around that. I'm pretty sure that most of us believe it, but talk to us about that. How can we strengthen our village together?
I would say for me, what I want to put out there, this was something that I heard a long time ago, and I'm not sure if any school district is still having this, but parents as teachers, and also, what is it? It is called, Gila, I talk about this group all the time.
Is it PLTI? Parents as Leaders Training Institute?
I'm not.
That's the thing. That's a resource.
That is the thing. That is a thing. What is it called? Where a group of parents get together, and it's in several different school districts, and they really just support each other and the students around them. What is it called? I forgot. I'm a part of
pods. Like I'm trying to remember like what we called them when people were doing their own virtual schooling. But at any rate, actually, but that's a really good kind of general piece of advice, though. Like maybe it means maybe that self-care component and that support component means that you actively reach out to the parents around you and be like, hey, I'm having a hard time. It would be a lot easier for me to watch 3 kids on a Monday night and then have the rest of my week free rather than, having to watch my kid every single night and not have time to get work done or do what I need to do. Is that kind of what you mean?
Yes, that, and also just volunteer at your school, right? Yeah. How you get to know another student's parent and how you get to know each other involved in your classroom is becoming involved in your classroom. Going up to the school, volunteering any of your time and support, not just to support your child, but reaching out and taking a step further to support someone else's child that may be struggling. I know for myself as a parent, I love to go and volunteer for field trips and things of that nature. And anytime there's like a sign up at my child's school, I try to be there because I know how important it is for my child. And I know that we all don't have the time, but just showing up can make a difference, not just to your child, but that child's best friend, right? Yeah. And the child that's sitting across the classroom or the cafeteria that you may notice that is sitting alone, and inviting that person out. And I know that you make a lot of great connections just in passing through, picking up your child from school, after school, principal's office. It really just starts with us as parents, just getting involved as a parent. You can change so much in your school district if you showed up.
Yeah, absolutely. Keela, do you have anything to add?
Yes. So parents as teachers is still a thing. Okay. It's definitely making way and being a reliable resource throughout the districts. I would also say, like Alexis said, the PTO, and I know that sometimes, like from that mental
PTA, health, thank you, PTA. It's the PTA, like that's an actual.
I know that we all want PTO. We want that.
Yes, we do.
That was a Freudian slip. PTA.
Yes. PTA is what I mean.
It happens.
That's amazing. That is a great deal.
So, the PTA. And I know, like from a mental health standpoint, it might sound like a whole lot, when we have already been at work all day, and after we left work, we went grocery shopping, we cooked dinner, and now we have these obligations at school. But you can do the PTA at a minimally, you can just join a meeting once a month or things like that. And then also don't be hesitant to contact your child's teacher if they're at the elementary level, or teachers if they're at the secondary level, middle and high school, because their teachers can provide you with a lot of insight on their day-to-day interactions with friends and different things like that, and kind of touch back to what I mentioned earlier in the conversation. Get to know everybody in your child's school. You're coming in, you're signing your child out for the day. Hey, hi to the custodians, hi to attendance clerks, hello secretaries, principals, vice principals, assistant principals. Just getting to know everyone, because at the district level, everybody plays a part in your child's success throughout the school year.
Okay. Well, and I think that's really, really great. Great advice, around Innovate Her KC. One of our goals is connectivity. And it's like, you don't necessarily have an end goal with connectivity. You're just trying to create touch points, access points, get to understand how systems work, how people work. And the reason that we do that is because you don't really know the opportunities that can come out of that, but they're almost always going to be a net positive. And you want to create the kind of environment where those kind of like collaboration is possible, or where in your case, you want to create the kind of environment where an administrator or an educator feels empowered to come up and talk to a parent and be like, hey, this is what's going on, and vice versa, and just create that connectivity. Right. So it's not like there's like a checklist, like, this Monday, you have to talk to your child's teacher. Tuesday, you have to talk to the principal. Wednesday, you have to talk to the custodian. That's not really how this works. It's just creating access. How do I show up and be present so that people see me as someone who is involved in my child's education? And how can I foster those relationships so that when and if there are problems, we already have something in place, right? Is that kind of the long-term goal?
Yes.
Exactly. Like you want to start addressing the problems before they become problems. Right. So I'm going to ask you, I have one final question for you, for both of you. And we've kind of talked around it, but I'm looking for a bullet point from each of you. And what I'm looking for is, what is the one thing that you wish our audience knew about preparing for back to school? And that can be, you can interpret that question however you want. How do we prepare students? How do we prepare teachers? How do we prepare our community at large? Go. And that was a lot. So again,
you want to go first, or like what?
So what I would say is that you are supported in the process. It goes back to, when Alexis mentioned, I'm talking about the process from when it starts, enrollment. Knowing that you're supported, because if you don't have a driver's license, if you don't have a birth certificate, reconciliation services, if your child does not have school supplies, a backpack, the social worker and or the family school liaison in your district, if your child, if there is a food insecurity, there's a food pantry, if not in that school, then in the community where you live. And there is an individual in your child's building and or in the district that can provide you with resources for that food pantry. So knowing that you're supported throughout the entire process while your child is in school, not the first day, not the first week, the whole year, and in the summer.
Exactly. Well, and so I'm gonna add to that. And again, like, this is very much coming from a not educator sort of place. I'm not a teacher, I'm not a parent, but I deeply respect both. But I would say, like, I agree, like, the process is designed to support people, but you have to actually use the process. Like, you have to reach out, you have to ask the questions, you have to look for the supports that you need. Because even as we're talking, I'm sitting here, like, I'm thinking Giving Hope and Help every year. That's an innovator owned nonprofit. Every year they do the backpacks that they give out every year. Love Fund for Kids, the KCPS foundation, KCKPS has their own foundation. Like, there are resources out there that we don't even know about. And like, you're a little bit, you're more embedded in than I am, but like, the fact is, there are resources out there, but you have to avail yourself of the process, and you have you have to look for them, and you have to use them in order for them to support you. So I'm just gonna make that add on. How about you, Alexis? What you got?
So I feel like you guys really summed it up of what I was going to say, because what I want everyone to really take away from myself is there is not a resource, and you do not have a need that cannot be met in your community. You just have to get on the phone and call me no, I'm just kidding. No, because my voicemail looks crazy, so like I don't know. But if you have a need, and you have tried United Way, right, the 211, or you have tried the 988 crisis, so that's a mental health need and a social services need, and they are just not working for you. Just know, or maybe you went to a local church and they didn't have the supplies that you needed at this time. Please connect with a community mental health agency in your community, because there's one around. And so I'm just going to highlight Reconciliation Services, not just because I work there, but because
it's a little bit because you work there.
I mean, I didn't want to say it like that, but
it's totally fine. That's one of the reasons you're here, my friend.
I mean, we just have a phenomenal group of individuals from, like Keela mentioned even before, FGP, right? So there are foster grandparents positioned in so many different schools across the KC metro area, the South KC area, and then some. And so they also have resources to provide to your child. And you may not have known that, right? And so, and as well as for us, if there is something that we don't do at Reconciliation Services, what I do know is that we will connect you with someone that does. There is not a need that has been unmet if you walked into our doors and you asked for anything.
Yeah. Well, and if you haven't been down to the Reconciliation Services area, please know that they also, what's the name of the kitchen? I keep on thinking Teresa's Kitchen.
You say Teresa's?
I know. I was like, that's Thelma's Kitchen. I was like,
Thelma's Kitchen.
But I was seeing like the THE in my head, and I'm like, that's not right. But Thelma's Kitchen, they have an amazing lunch down there, by the by. And it is a workforce reentry development program as well. And like, I mean, Reconciliation Services does amazing work within our community. Also, I just want to point you to something. So this is something that we are kind of quietly beta testing, and I have not announced it yet. But if you go to our website, InnovateHERKC.com, we've instituted something called InnovateHER Help Desk. And the reason that we did that, incidentally, we are not therapists. We are not emergency services. And full disclaimer and disclosure, if you are thinking of harming yourself or others, please don't. We love you, but please seek help immediately, not through IHKC Help Desk. That's not the place. But that being said, we wanted to take requests like this. And the fact is, it was like, we are not going to be the ones to help you with this, but we're going to point you to Reconciliation Services. And we're going to point you to New House Shelter. And we're going to point you to Giving Help and Help. And the reason that we wanted to do that was because we know that there are so many agencies out there doing incredible work. And we want to help you get the name out there and the word out there. So if you have questions or if you need to be connected to resources, please don't hesitate to head to our website, fill out a ticket. You'll hear back soon, and we'll get you in touch with people like Alexis and Keela and the many different innovators that we work with who are out there just trying to do some good in the world and take care of people in the way that they need to be taken care of. My friends, this has been fun. It's been fun for me. I hope it's been fun for you. Yeah. I'm really glad Cynthia didn't ask us a tooth question.
That was good.
But I thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us tonight. I have loved getting to know you a little bit more. As you can see from the first time we met, I'm still a little extra, but hopefully having that screen separation makes it a little easier. But thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us today.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
I am going to go ahead. I'm going to kick you out. Not that we don't love you. We do love you. But I'm going to kick you out. And then, my friends, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it with what is coming up with InnovateHER KC over the course of the next, I don't know, month or so. It just kind of depends on my whim. But August 23rd, we have our Roots KC Witch Ball Workshop. You can sign up for that through our public Facebook page or our LinkedIn page, or you can access the information on our calendar at InnovateHERKC.com. Keep an eye out for that. You do have to buy a ticket through the Roots KC ticketing system. It's $28, but you get to make a witch ball and you get to set intentions and you get to do it with a bunch of innovators. So that sounds like a lot of fun to me. On the 30th, we're going to be discussing grief awareness for Grief Awareness Day with a few innovators who have experienced grief and have now started organizations to help people manage their grief. But we're going to be talking about how to talk to people who are grieving, how to offer your help and assistance, how to healthily process grief yourself. It is a topic that we need to talk about it more often. It's a pretty big deal. Coming up next in September, we have our monthly meetup on September 5th. It is going to be a Nourish Her event. We would love to see it. It'll go from 5 to, about 7 o'clock. We are going to just bring the things that bring us joy to do together. So we'll have some art supplies. We'll have some card games. Last time we had somebody bring a candle making kit. I see you, Katina Taylor. But, just bring something that you want to work on, something that is just for you, not for your kids, not for your boss, not for your spouse or partner. Bring something that is so color. If you want to do yoga, somebody took a nap once, we will not judge, but come and bring something that is just for you. That'll be our monthly meetup for the month. And we're going to be at the Black Co. So check us out. That is September 5th starting at 5 p.m. And you can find that information on our public social media. And then that is all I remember off the top of my head as far as what's coming up next. So I'm going to go ahead and end it right there. Thanks so much for coming back every other week with us as we do IHKC Live and we talk about issues that affect women plus leaders. And I hope you have a great rest of the week. We'll catch you next time.